Well, glory be and mercy me, we've done it yet again. Here we are, daily walk around the graveyard. I was looking around news feeds today for articles for my live stream, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. Come on in, let's have a cry, right? And what's the big hot story? I've been seeing it for weeks now, if not months, right? The housing market, everything's going crazy. Tiff Macklem, head of the Bank of Canada. Don't you love that his name's Tiff Macklem, right? You can just hear him say something like, Miffy, let's go to the country club, right? So, everything that I'm reading from our corporate news media, which is designed to lie to you, which is designed to propagandize you, is doing just that, right? Just having a great old grifting time, erecting a false narrative of what's going on in the housing market in order to convince you, the taxpayer, the Canadian citizen, to remain complacent and just keep voting Liberal. Everything's in hand. Don't you worry about it, right? Here's the grift. How prices have gone crazy because of supply chains and the Russian war and all of this. Forget about the fact that corporate profits are soaring, right? Don't ever mention under any circumstances that corporate profits are soaring. Under no circumstances point out, hey, the billionaire class has literally like doubled their wealth, right? Like never ever under any circumstances mention this if you're CTV Global News, right? If you're the CBC even. Just don't even talk about it. It doesn't exist, right? The real problem is the Russians or the pandemic, you know, coming out of the pandemic, things are tough. Things are tough. And so, in the midst of all of this, the housing market has gone absurd. It's gone through the roof. It's gone crazy, right? And so, in walks Tiff Macklem. We're going to take control of inflation. And the way to take control of inflation is certainly by raising the interest rate. That will lower inflation and get us back to our 2% target. Forget about the fact that the 2% target itself is an absurdity when you realize, hey, do your wages go up 2% every year? No, they don't, eh? Oh, it's almost like the entire system is designed to suppress the working class and enrich a group of psychopaths. Anyway, so what is this inflation that we're talking about? All it literally is corporations raising prices. That's it. They've given it a fancy name, they've given it a fancy word, right, to convince you that there's this economic thing. It's just a force of nature that's rolling through, that nothing can be done about it. Oh, everybody, it's happening across the entire chain. It's a global phenomenon. People like Chrystia Freeland will say, yeah, it's a global phenomenon. Turns out that rich people are psychopaths no matter where they live, right? Turns out rich people will jack prices no matter where they live. So this idea that we're going to raise interest rates. So what's the logic behind it, right? What's the grift? Raising the interest rate makes it more difficult to borrow money. Makes the borrowing of money more expensive. And so people will do it less. This, in turn, will drive magically prices downward, right? This is the grift. And it relies entirely on the idea that you have no fucking idea how economics actually works. For the last 50 years, these guys have been saying, let's give all the money to billionaires and then it'll trickle down and that'll happen for real, yeah. And we all went, yeah! So you have no fucking idea how economics works, right? And so they're just grifting you again, really obviously. The reason why they're raising interest rates, does it lower prices? Yeah, absolutely. It lowers prices because you and your mom and your dad and your grandparents can't afford to pay the mortgage anymore because the interest rate's gone up, right? So you are forced to sell, right? So, and because a lot of you are being forced to sell, it's driving the price down. The rich aren't selling, right? The rich are delisting. The rich are taking their properties and going, oh, I don't need to sell that. Which also, by the way, drops the price, right? And so who's going to pick up these cheap properties? Who's going to buy the cheap properties? Is it you? Or is it Blackstone and BlackRock who are putting aside billions and billions, $50 billion was the last report I saw, in order to hoard up more housing? What do you think is happening in your society? What do you think is going on in your housing market? Do you think the powers of be actually are interested in restructuring this whole thing so that you can have access to housing? Are you actually this gullible to believe that the very people who are generating this inflation crisis, who are generating this housing crisis, are suddenly going to turn around and actually do something about it to help you? Is that where we've gotten, right? That we're so willing to continue listening to these overt, obvious grifters when they are spinning enormous lies in front of us. This Tiff Macklem guy works for his owners, right? He's lowering the price of housing by getting you to sell, right? Creating a recession so that his rich buddies can get more assets. That's what's actually happening. We're watching it occur in front of our eyes, and our corporate media is not reporting it. Very straightforwardly. They'll give you little pieces. They'll give you little sections. They'll tell you that, oh, well, BlackRock is planning this, and they're doing this, and the housing market's doing this. Look at the line, right? It's coming down. Oh, they'll even tell you the rich are delisting. They'll tell you all of it. But they'll never put two and two together for you. They'll never actually put it down in front of you and say, yeah, the Bank of Canada is raising interest rates to bankrupt small players in the market because the small players can't afford the increased interest rate. The billionaires care less because they're billionaires. They have billions of dollars. They care less about a raising interest rate, right? And so when the commodity price comes down, the wealthy will scoop it up and you will be homeless. And you'll be happy about it. Eat the bugs! This is the state of Canada. That not only has our ruling class been completely co-opted by a group of rapacious psychopaths, but the media apparatus that some of us still pretend has credibility for some reason is joining in and is doing absolutely nothing to actually inform you about the overt, obvious betrayal that you are experiencing. And what is the result of all of this? An increase in homelessness, an increase in renters, right? A degrading of the society itself as people fall into more and more desperation. And as rent prices soar, as they will, then all of your money, instead of actually having an economy, instead of being able to buy goods and services in your local or national economy, instead of being able to actually participate and build a robust, resilient economy, all of your money just goes to these landlords. That's what's happening, right? That all of your money is just going to go to the landlord class. The cities will continue to hollow out, be converted into Airbnbs, be playgrounds for the rich and wealthy, because they don't care. Like, they don't care. None of these people are interested in building a nation that has any strength at all. They're completely disinterested in it. They couldn't care less. We're talking about the same people who betrayed the nation by shipping all of the manufacturing overseas. Like, don't you feel like that's a national security risk? And the idea that these people are suddenly going to create a housing market that actually houses people, that actually works for the benefit of the society, is childishness. You've been utterly betrayed, and it's not going to get better. This will be the end of this one, guys. Like, share, subscribe, right? You are living in a society where a small group of billionaire psychopaths are rendering you and your family and your future onto homelessness and renterism. That's what's happening. And the political class, including the NDP, are just watching it happen. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them at all. It's time to surround the halls of power. What is happening is a delegitimization of the power structure. That the ruling class, the oligarchs, I don't mean Justin Trudeau, I mean his owners, right? I mean people like David Thompson, I mean people like the Westons, the Irvings, right? They view you strictly as a commodity. They view you as an object to be used for their wealth exclusively. And if they can get rich by throwing you into the streets, they absolutely will. Always remember, you are a quantum being walking around in quantum energy. You deserve better than what these psychopaths have planned for you. Revolt, rebel, repent. Good luck. We're gonna need it.